Britain is home to around 3 million Muslims, and here in London is the largest community of Muslims in any major European city. But when it comes to foreign policy, this growing faith group believes it has little influence over government policy on Israel.
All the indications are that the government is not listening to this, and it is a matter of concern for the British Muslims and to a very large extent to the wider British population that sides are being taken without being objective.
The Muslim Council of Britain believes the government's positions on issues in the Middle East are out of touch with Muslims and with British people as a whole, who tend to voice their concerns about government policy.
The Iraq war is a very good example where it has not shown any signs of listening at that time, when more than 1 million people came out on the streets, not just Muslims, in fact, a very large number of the general public population in the UK, and still the war went ahead, and those sort of lessons are not being learned.
At a local level, Muslims are becoming a more defined force, particularly in dense urban communities like East London, where in the last general election Muslim candidates stood for national office. In the aftermath of the Gaza conflict, Muslims have again been voicing their concerns, and Britain has responded by renewing its calls for the US to use its leverage with Israel to forge a long-term settlement on Palestinian statehood. Nonetheless, some Jewish political leaders in Britain actually agree with their Muslim counterparts that the influence of Muslim opinion on the street doesn't translate into action in Westminster.
Interest groups and communal leaders trying to influence government policy in lots of different areas. Businesses try to influence government policy, so it's a natural thing in a democracy. So as much as the Muslim population want to try and influence the government policy towards Israel, the Jewish communal leaders and the other organizations will try influence as well. But the British government position towards this conflict has been really clear, calling for the two-state solution.
Political pollsters have their own theories about why the voice of British Muslims on Middle East policy is quite so muted on a national level, despite the passions evoked in these communities.
I don't see it in terms of a tug of war, for example, between the Jewish community and the Muslim community. British politics just isn't like that, and so I think it's fair to say that the Muslim community is sufficiently divided and foreign policy so difficult to influence that we've seen very little evidence of their impact on that area of public policy to date.
So, despite a six-fold increase in the number of Muslims living in the UK over the past 30 years, it appears for now at least this sizable community has relatively limited influence over policy making and Britain's relationship with Israel. This is Natalie Powell for JN1 in London.